Once upon a time in America, success felt simple. You worked hard. You told the truth. You did your part. And that was enough. A man with grease on his hands could buy a home, send his kids to college, richly with dignity. A woman behind a typewriter or store counter could build a life to be proud of. There was dignity in the everyday, in blue overalls, in chalk-stained teachers, in calloused hands that didn't just build things, they built trust. This was the American dream. And for many, it wasn't just a slogan. It was real. But behind every dream is a cost. And every golden age has a ticking clock. Slowly, the language changed. The values shifted. Quietly, but relentlessly. Television ads stopped praising labor and started selling luxury. MBA programs taught profit over people. Wall Street became not just a place, but a mindset. Success became unhooked from contribution. A new ideal emerged. Get more, give less. At first, life looked the same. The factory still hummed. The shops stayed open. But beneath it all, the gears had started turning. Then came the 80s. Deregulation swept through the economy like a wildfire. Whole industries were reshaped, not to serve people better, but to serve profits faster. The self-made man wasn't a builder anymore. He was a buyer. Not the craftsman, but the closer. And that was just the beginning. Then came globalization. It sounded modern, inclusive, expansive. But for the honest worker, it meant something else. Factories didn't close because they failed. They closed because labor was cheaper overseas. Jobs vanished. Towns faded. Families struggled. But the stock market soared. CEOs smiled. Analysts applauded efficiency. Wall Street cheered. The promise was rewritten. Not work hard, get ahead. Now, work harder, stay behind. If you lost your job, you were told to retrain. If you couldn't afford to, hustle. If you failed, it was your fault. Suddenly, you weren't a victim of policy. You were just not ambitious enough. Responsibility shifted from the system to the individual. Don't blame the game. Just play better. But some games are rigged. By the 2000s, the Ruthless didn't just play the game. They rewrote it. They didn't build the system. They hijacked it. Empathy? Too slow. Collaboration? Optional. Everything became a product. Time, attention, trust. They launched platforms, not products. Extracted data, not wisdom. Promised disruption. Delivered domination. They sold the dream of decentralization while quietly taking more control. To succeed, you no longer needed to serve people. Just shape perception. Brand was king. Image over substance. Even failure became a strategy, a rebrand, a PR move, a new round of funding. And for the honest worker, a new playbook. Be your own brand. Sell yourself, scale yourself, and still fall behind. The field hadn't just changed, it tilted. And those who climbed did so on the backs of those who couldn't. Once, the cost of progress was paid in sweat. Now, it's paid in silence. When the factories closed, they didn't just take jobs. They took purpose, structure, identity. Men and women who had built their communities with bare hands and long hours were left adrift. What do you do when everything you were told to believe in disappears? There was a quiet grief, not loud, not explosive, but lingering. A steady erosion of pride. And it didn't happen overnight. It happened in gas station coffee cups and grocery store coupons, in bills that didn't get paid, in birthday gifts that were skipped. And something else filled the void. Anger. When people feel powerless, they look for someone to blame. Immigrants, politicians, the next generation, the previous one, anyone. Meanwhile, The ruthless kept rising. They sold in answers, in sound bites. They packaged pain into profit. Truth became flexible. Facts became feelings. Opinion became identity. And all the while, the rules stayed broken. In this new economy, effort didn't guarantee stability. Dedication didn't protect against bankruptcy. Even talent had to bow to visibility. It wasn't about doing your best. It was about being seen. And the ruthless understood this. They mastered the algorithm, the headline, the outrage. They didn't have to be right, just wide. Not wise, just viral. The honest worker tried to keep up, learned new tools, started side gigs, posted, promoted, prayed for traction. But authenticity doesn't scale like spectacle, and dignity doesn't trend. There's a hidden cost to being constantly measured by likes, by metrics, by income. It frays the soul. Relationships suffer. Attention fragments. Communities disintegrate. Despair grows. And yet the myth remains. If you're struggling, you're just not doing enough. The ruthless didn't just survive this world. They made it. And they sell the antidote to the poison they created. Courses, books, retreats, mental fitness subscriptions. But the honest worker doesn't need hacks. They need hope. And quietly, slowly, something else begins to rise. People begin to look inward, not for blame, but for connection, for meaning, for each other. Barbershops become town halls. Libraries become tech centers. Churches and mosques offer free meals and warmth. People trade services, share stories, plant food, and plant trust. The ruthless may rule the system, but they can't own the soul. There's no app for belonging, no metric for purpose. And in forgotten corners of forgotten towns, the honest worker begins again. Together. It's not flashy. It's not fast. It's not optimized. But it's real. We were told the future would be faster, smarter, more efficient. And it is. But in chasing speed, we lost direction. In chasing scale, we lost soul. Now, we are learning something again. Slowly, painfully, together. Meaning isn't found in metrics. It isn't earned by algorithms. It's built in small moments, in shared meals, in being seen. The honest worker is no longer waiting for the system to save them. They are building something out of it, around it, beneath it, and sometimes in defiance of it. Across the world, people are reclaiming their agency, not through protests or platforms, but through presence. They are reviving old traits, teaching skills, sharing tools, co-owning what they create. Because the truth is, not everyone can be ruthless, but everyone can be real. And realness has a quiet power, the ruthless fear, because it cannot be bought. The return of meaning isn't dramatic. It's humble, gentle, patient. It grows where people choose to listen, to care, to stay zero. We once measured success in dollars and domination. Now, we are learning to measure it in impact. Not how much you take, but how much you give. Not how far you go, but who you bring with you. Success redefined is raising others with you. It is contribution, not conquest. The ruthless may still win the headlines, but the honest are winning the heartlines. The honest worker, forgotten for decades, now becomes the teacher. They have endured collapse and kept counting. They have watched their value dismissed, only to rediscover it on their own terms. They understand the value of time, of showing up, of finishing what you start. And they are showing the next generation that while you can hustle for a living, you must live for something more. This is wisdom the ruthless can't copy, because it's not a strategy. It's a way of being. The revolution won't look like a war. It will look like care. People showing up for each other, families reconnecting, strangers trusting, builders building not just products, but possibility. The honest worker is not obsolete. They are essential, not for what they can be extracted for, but for what they can inspire. And maybe, just maybe, this is the future worth fighting for. We began this story with the fall of the honest worker. But maybe that fall wasn't an end. Maybe it was a pause, a reckoning, a redirection. The world doesn't need more ruthless winners. It needs more honest rebuilders. People who know that success is not a trophy. It's a table, long, sturdy, and full of chairs. So pull up a seat. There is work to do. There is joy to be made. There is a future to share. And this time, everyone eats.